So Andrew Wiggins
Boy, Wiggins.
missed a whole lot of games last year due to personal reasons that I don't believe were ever made clear, which is fine. Didn't have a great playoff performance, but the Warriors, I don't think,
They didn't play well in the playoffs.
like, the
Also,
Warriors didn't play well in general. But to start the year, this year, Wiggins is still on a slump. Just to outline some of the stats, especially on the three-point shooting, he's a career 35% three-point shooter. In the last 3 seasons as a Warrior, he shot basically 38 to 39% on reasonable attempts the last 3 seasons. This year, though, Wiggins, 16.7% from three in 10 games. Not only that, he's also not as aggressive. Wiggins is clearly lacking some sort of physical aggressiveness, especially the shots that we would rely on Wiggins to hit, or at least take back in 2022. They're not falling. I'm talking about things like the fadeaway two, the post ups, the pop,
yeah,
all of those shots that, like, a lot of the time we'll try and get Wiggins these isolation matchups. Yesterday, we tried to get Wiggins a few on Darius Garland, but he wasn't converting. So I think it's kind of hard to assess what the problem is because, maybe he is just in a shooting slump or something. What do you think is going on with Wiggins, and how do you think it will affect the Warriors if it continues for, let's say,
yeah.
20
I
more
think this
games?
is probably the biggest part of the Warriors. Like, just because I know this is now like a very said point, but Andrew Wiggins was the best player, the second best player on the championship team the Warriors had because of his ability to be extremely versatile and be a floor spacer while also being a guy who can create for himself. And right now he's not able to do any of those. And that presents a huge problem. You outlined the numbers in great detail. The poor 3-point shooting percentage really worries me because the Warriors do have a lot of, like, they have people who specialize in certain things. They have people who specialize in offense and specialize in defense. And Andrew Wiggins is kind of like our Swiss Army knife, where he can do it everything in all of the lineups. He actually averaged, I think, more minutes than Curry in the finals that year as well, just showing how important he is on both the defensive and offensive end. So I think he's kind of our guy to look forward to if he doesn't improve, the Warriors are in trouble.
Yeah, I mean, he can't be a non-threat from three. If
No.
Wiggins continues to provide zero floor spacing, then the Warriors are in a lot of trouble because in the starting five, they're already running out Dre, who, Dre's actually hit some threes this year, which is nice to see, but
Yeah.
he's still not that much of a floor spacer, and he doesn't really provide help in that way. And Kevon Looney is obviously a
No.
non-threat.
No.
So essentially what you're
Yeah.
running out there is you're running out two very good three-point shooters. But the problem is, uh, especially with the way defenses cover the Warriors, and especially as those shooting slumps continue, the Warriors are going to have a lot of spacing issues. The Warriors rely a lot on, for example, 4-on-3s if they double Curry on a ball screen and Draymond's on that short roll trying
Mhm.
to convert.
Yeah.
Um, if Andrew Wiggins was in the past, Wiggins might space out to that left corner or that left wing and hit a three. This year, he's not opting for that. He's opting to collapse, go get to the basket instead. The problem is he's not really converting on that either. So
It gets
if
tough,
Wiggins is
yeah.
not converting on anything, if none of his shots are looking good, then the Warriors are in a lot of trouble. Uh, Statistically, is Wiggins going to shoot 16, 17% from three this year? Probably not. But keep in mind, in the playoffs last year, he shot 27% from three in the Kings series and I believe 33% against the Lakers. So
Yeah.
this could be like an actual just shooting decline, right? Like, that's not out of the question.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, it feels like he should be at least above 30, but, like, yeah, I guess we'll see. I mean, it's really tough with Wiggins too because he is so important to what the Warriors do in, like, kind of a weird way, and a big thing is also, like, kinda taking the load off of Steph, and making it easier for Steph to not just be the highest scorer on the team every game. The only reason we've honestly been good with Wiggins being so poor is just because our bench has been so good. Um And that's what I feel like has been really carrying us this season.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think there's just been a general lack of aggressiveness. Wiggins is a big guy. He's a big
Yeah.
wing. Maybe he's lost some of that physicality. Maybe he didn't
It's
have
been
good
a long
off-season.
time too
I don't.
since he's really played. Like you think last year he took so many games off, came back for like 12 games, and then took a whole summer off. So maybe it's just a little rust. And I think you hit it right there. Talking about his aggressiveness, I think part of his aggressiveness might just be he sees his shot not going in. He sees himself getting the ball and turning the ball over. He's in like the bottom 10 percentile of turnover percentage, and he's definitely had a couple bad turnovers, specifically when he does ISO against maybe like a smaller player where you think he should win. Sometimes he's not able to win that matchup, and I feel like his confidence just gets lower and lower and lower off that.
Yeah, no, yeah, it just had the the play style that the Warriors benefit from Andrew Wiggins hasn't been seen this year at all. Um, I think one bright thing that Steve Kerr also mentioned was from like the Warriors analytics team was that there's a greater focus on offensive rebounds, and the Warriors starting five is top 5% in the NBA in getting offensive rebound percentage.
Yeah,
They're getting 38% of their misses. And I think that's really solid. And I have seen Wiggins definitely hone in on those.
yeah,
So I think that's a valuable part. And Wiggins, as I said, tall, long, physical, athletic guy. So we need that because that is converting in terms of offensive rebounds. The Warriors are going to need that in more areas than just offensive rebounds. If Wiggins continues to play at this level, we've already seen the first few games. He wasn't even getting play time in the fourth quarter, right? Like Kuminga, Moody were getting reps over him.
yeah.
What do you think is going to happen if this continues from Wiggins? Do you think that Steve Kerr is going to move him out of the starting lineup?
Yeah.
Do you think that maybe he'll sub him out quickly? What do you think's going to
I
happen?
don't think he's gonna get taken out of the starting lineup because that would show a clear decline to like the public too. I think what will start happening is you'll see Kaminga more in the finishing lineup. He's been playing pretty well lately. I mean, probably next week if he continues to have a good week, we might start hitting on him as he becomes more consistent. But he's been playing pretty well, so you'd think maybe, and he's fulfilling a lot of the roles that Wiggins would normally fill, except for the 3-point shooting. So we'll see.
Right. Yeah. I mean, like, I don't want to believe that Wiggins has just
No,
somehow
yeah,
lost that touch.
please.
Um, I will say, like, just watching highlights from the Celtics finals, just the ability to have even you could call him a tertiary scorer if you want. Really, he'd probably be best as like a secondary scorer, but having this guy that can give you 18 points a game, but is hitting those tough step back, even a long two, hitting those hooks, getting those conversions in those post ups against smaller players, that's really valuable for the Warriors. And it's especially valuable when the Warriors are not hitting shots. That brings us to the next thing we want to talk about. The Warriors are not having that good of a shooting stretch. Um, you know, Part of the Warriors' identity, obviously, is 3-point shots. A large portion of those come from Steph Curry. But you still like to see other players on the team converting because the way the Warriors play, they need that. The Warriors can sometimes generate threes even against really physical, really pesky defenses
Mhm.
like Cleveland last night, right? Cleveland was holding the Warriors, I believe, in I don't remember the most parts of the game. I think their half court offensive rating was like 85.
Yeah.
Um, we saw the Warriors fight back
Yeah,
and get
they
it
really
to
did. They
they
were
handled
down
that
3, I think, at one point, and I think
right.
they actually took the lead for, like, 1 second.
Yeah, and then what happened was, besides Curry did not have an ultra efficient shooting night. I don't think people are worried about that,
No,
but
no one's worried.
the Warriors had opportunities from role players to hit 3-point shots, and they weren't. And what happens when you don't hit shots is that The opponent gets the rebound, they get in semi transition, and they beat
They
you because
destroy
they're
them.
faster or younger than you.